The battle for Pokrovsk is a story told in lines on a map. But these are not just lines. They are the living, breathing boundaries of a conflict that has reshaped this land. Each contour represents a trench, each shaded area a field of fire, and every shift, no matter how small, is paid for in blood and iron. To understand this battle, you must learn to read this map, to see the strategy, the sacrifice, and the immense human drama it depicts. Today is December 3rd, 2025. We are looking at the Donetsk Oblast in eastern Ukraine. Here is the front, a wide, shifting scar that has crawled westward for months. This is the culmination of the long, grinding offensive that began after the fall of Avdiivka. Zoom in and you see a city of ruins. This is Pokrovsk. Before the full-scale invasion, it was a vital railway junction and a quiet administrative center. Now, it is the epicenter of a brutal, attritional struggle, a ghost of its former self, defined by artillery craters and the skeletons of apartment blocks. For over a year, Russian forces have pushed toward it, employing a strategy of overwhelming firepower to methodically reduce Ukrainian strongpoints. Their advance has been a slow, costly grind, measured in meters per day. But the strategic prize is immense. Its capture opens a direct path to Sloviansk and Kramatorsk, the last major Ukrainian-held urban centers in the Donbass. For Moscow, it is the biggest potential win since 2023. It would be a powerful symbol of progress in a war that has often moved at a glacial pace, a tangible victory to justify the enormous expenditure of men and materiel. The stakes are immense. The cost, for both sides, is even higher. Now, watch the front lines. They show pressure building, a concentration of force that is unmistakable. Russian units advance from the east and south, attempting to form a pincer movement to envelop the city and its defenders. This is classic Russian doctrine. Fix the enemy in place, then cut them off. The map shows a relentless series of probes, breaches, and repeated assaults. But look closer. The blue lines bend, but they hold. This is no accident. Ukrainian forces have built a layered fortress, a defense-in-depth strategy designed to bleed the attacker. They have turned every village, tree line, and industrial complex into a prepared kill zone. Crucially, they control the roads that matter, maintaining their own lines of supply while denying easy access to the attackers. And here, the map reveals Russia's fundamental weakness. Thin, exposed supply lines stretching back for kilometers over open ground. Every shell, every soldier, every drop of fuel must travel along these vulnerable arteries. The Ukrainian strategy becomes clear. You don't have to defeat the fist, you just have to cut the arteries that feed the arm. Do that, and the assault withers on the vine. The skies over Pokrovsk are filled with buzzing eyes, small, fast, deadly. First-person view drones have reinvented the battlefield. They scout, they spot, and they execute. For Ukraine, they are a critical tool. Low, fast, hunting for targets of opportunity. Armored columns moving across open fields, supply trucks pushing forward. The drone strikes, or calls in waiting artillery. The effect is devastating. Videos tell a grim, factual story. Tanks, APCs, and trucks, wrecked and abandoned. Not isolated incidents, a systematic campaign. The threat from above slows everything to a crawl. Fuel, ammo, even rations, cut off. Units become static, isolated, vulnerable. Ukraine's defense is not just drones. It is a lethal partnership of new tech and old firepower. Artillery is smarter, faster, more precise. Guns strike with real-time guidance. They can hit moving targets. Columns are picked apart before the front. The fields become an artillery trap. Mass, spot, send. Within minutes, shells rain down. Group up, and you die faster. The pattern repeats. Exact numbers are debated. Even the low end is grim. Ukrainian sources claim over 100,000 Russian casualties. Reports speak of bodies stacked atop one another. Some estimates put the ratio as high as 15-1, make every inch costly, and the machine grinds to a halt. Around Pokrovsk, that strategy is working. When Russian forces finally pushed into the city limits, the fundamental nature of the battle changed. The war of maneuver across open fields was over. Now, it was a fight in claustrophobic streets and shattered buildings. In this new environment, the traditional advantages of a mechanized army, speed, mass, and long-range firepower were severely blunted. Here, the calculus of combat flips. The defender, deeply entrenched and familiar with the terrain, holds a distinct advantage. The city itself becomes a fortress, not one of stone walls, but of reinforced concrete and steel. Every window is a potential sniper's nest, every blind corner a potential ambush. The three-dimensional battlefield means threats can come from basements below or rooftops above. It becomes a labyrinth of death for any attacking force. Urban assault is brutally slow and methodical. Progress is not measured in kilometers, but house by house, room by room. Prepared defensive positions, established over weeks, can unleash devastating counterattacks on exposed assault groups. Streets are deliberately turned into kill zones, funneling advancing columns into pre-sighted artillery and anti-tank fire. Nimble FPV drones hunt relentlessly in this complex terrain, striking targets that conventional air power can't reach. Artillery observers use them to bring down fire with terrifying precision. Heavy armor, so decisive in the open, is often negated. Tanks are vulnerable, their thick hides penetrated by top-down attacks from javelins and other systems fired from upper stories. Even small successes are fleeting. Advancing units easily get isolated, their flanks exposed and supply lines severed by defenders moving through tunnels or pre-planned routes. The attrition is immense. In one sector, a defending Ukrainian brigade reportedly ran out of infantrymen, relying on drone operators and support staff to hold the line. Yet, they held. Every single block exacts a horrific price in blood and materiel, turning a ruined city into an unbreakable bastion that consumes the attacker's strength. The strain has exposed deep flaws in Russia's command. Chaos shows in the footage. Radios are chaotic, orders delayed, contradictory. Confusion takes hold. Chains of command break. Units lose contact, left to fend for themselves. Panic and disorganized retreats follow. Hunted by drones. Crews abandon vehicles. Leaders lost, supply lines cut. The force becomes a mob. Defenders exploit the disorder. Trust in leadership collapses. A soldier who doubts the plan will not fight well. This is how an offensive breaks. Cohesion, purpose, will. Not just machines lost, but the will to use them. On December 2, 2025, after weeks of brutal grinding attrition, the Kremlin's narrative machine declared a major victory. The target was Pokrovsk, a critical Ukrainian logistics hub whose capture would represent a significant strategic gain for Moscow. In a televised address, Vladimir Putin announced that the city had fallen. The message was unequivocal, designed for both domestic and international consumption. Russian forces were in complete control. To substantiate the claim, state media channels immediately circulated a short, grainy video. It depicted a small squad of soldiers raising a Russian flag, purportedly in the administrative heart of Pokrovsk. The footage was tense and hurried, a detail that would later prove significant. The timing was no coincidence. The announcement came just hours before a crucial round of talks with U.S. envoys, where the future of Western military aid was on the agenda. Putin needed leverage. A decisive victory on the battlefield, even a manufactured one, would strengthen his negotiating position, projecting an image of inevitable Russian success. But the narrative quickly unraveled. Within hours, Ukraine's general staff disputed the claim, and independent open-source intelligence analysts geolocated the flag-planting video not to the city center, but to a contested industrial zone on the eastern outskirts. Far from being under Russian control, fierce fighting was still raging block by block inside Pokrovsk. Ukrainian sources confirmed that the small reconnaissance unit that planted the flag was quickly repelled, suffering casualties in the process. The flag itself was gone within an hour. This was another staged flag planting, a propaganda stunt aimed squarely at influencing negotiations. It's a tactic seen before in this conflict, a recurring theme of declaring victory prematurely. This information war is fought parallel to the physical one. The goal is to shape perception, to convince the world you've won before you actually have. It's a battle for cognitive dominance, but perception cannot alter reality on the ground. The truth of the Pokrovsk front was one of slow, agonizingly costly gains. For every 100 meters taken, Russian forces paid an enormous price in men and materiel. Pokrovsk has not fallen. The price of propaganda is ultimately paid in soldiers' blood. These high-risk, low-reward dashes into contested territory for a photo opportunity result in tactical disasters. State TV can't rewrite the front line. At Pokrovsk, the truth of a costly, ill-conceived assault burns through the noise of state-sponsored fiction. Even if the city eventually falls, this battle will be remembered as a textbook example of propaganda trumping sound military judgment. The battle for Pokrovsk is more than one city. It is a lesson in modern war. A smaller, more agile, tech-savvy force can devastate a larger, conventional adversary. Sheer mass no longer decides battles. Skill, timing, technology. Applied smartly, they beat numbers. For Ukraine, each destroyed tank, each intercepted convoy proves the paradigm. Losses here reshape the entire front. An army that bleeds must pause, regroup, replace. Time to strengthen lines, train, and absorb new equipment. Frontal, meat grinder tactics fail against eyes in the sky and precision fire. But above all, it is a human tragedy. War has changed. Drones, precision artillery, real-time intelligence. At Pokrovsk, Ukraine showed how to shatter an assault and expose a growing weakness.